Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name is Brianna, this is Coffee, Books, and Bullet Journals, and today I'm going to be talking about my N.E.W.T.S TBR. Alright guys, so it is time to take the N.E.W.T.S, which is the nastily exhausting wizarding test. There we go. I was not able to participate in this last year, but I saw so many people that were able to do it, and they were just, looked like it was so much fun. So last year I did not participate in any of the magical readathons. This year I participated in the Owls, and now I'm going to do the N.E.W.T.S. So the Owls took place officially in April. A lot of people are actually taking them this month, in the month of July, so that they are able to participate in the N.E.W.T.S in August. But during the month of April, for the Owls, I was able to complete 9 Owl exams, which is pretty awesome. So this readathon and all of the magical readathons are hosted by G over at the Book Roast, and I will link her channel down below. And yeah, without further ado, let's just get started. I have a lot to talk about. So this year during the Owls, G came up with this entire career guide, which was amazing and awesome, and she put so much work into it. And I am going to be completing the N.E.W.T.S to become a Hogwarts professor. I am repping my proud Hufflepuff colors today. And yeah, so I'm going to be working on becoming a potions professor. I don't know why Snape doesn't like potions. They're kind of my favorite. So anyways, maybe it's because I work with food. And so food in the Muggle world, potions in the wizard world, it's the same thing, right? I never thought about that, but that's probably why. There's only 9 prompts that I have to complete to actually complete that for the career. However, I'm gonna be ambitious. So I did, like I said, I completed 9 Owls. So for each of the N.E.W.T.S, there are 3 books for each prompt. So I have the potential to read 27 books in the month of August, and I am going to try. It's a little insane. It's almost 9,000 pages. There's no way it's actually going to happen. But there's a lot of graphic novels. There's some poetry, I think. I don't even know what's on here. There's a lot of audiobooks. There's a couple of readathons also that I'm going to be participating in. So Thrillerathon happens in the month of August. And then my readathon, the Catch-Up-a-thon with the Literary Alliance team, that is the last month of August. So fitting all of this into a month's readathon, plus trying to fit them in so that I can read them during the weeks that they would correlate to their week-long readathon is insane. I literally have a calendar of the book, when I should be reading these books. That's the only way my brain would actually wrap around 27 books. So anyways, I'm not going to talk about them in great detail, but it's gonna be a long video. So grab yourself a drink, and let's get started. Like I said, there are 9 prompts that I have to read for the career of the Charms professor. Not Charms, Potions professor. I don't know why I said Charms. Potions professor. Clearly I need more coffee today. So those are the 9 that I'm going to be prioritizing. And then after that, then I will read the other ones. But I do want to make sure that I read the 9 first, so then at least I've accomplished that part of it. Does that make sense? So yes, so the ones that I need to do. So obviously I need to get an outstanding. I need to get an outstanding in potions because that is the subject that I want to teach. And then I need to get an exceeds expectations in defense against the dark arts. So I will need to read 2 for that. And then I need to have an acceptable in 2 other subjects that I would also like to teach, secondarily like to teach. And so for me, that is going to be Charms and Care of Magical Creatures, of course. So the 9 subjects that I will be taking part in will be Arithmancy, Care of Magical Creatures, Charms, Defense Against the Dark Arts, Divination, Herbology, History of Magic, Potions, and Transfiguration. So let's just start at the top with Arithmancy. Arithmancy. I don't know how to say that word because, clearly I do not. I don't do well with math, but I'm going to go for an outstanding. So the first question, the first prompt for an acceptable is to read a book that ends on an even number. And so for that, I will be reading an arc of Is There Still Sex in the City by, I don't know, I have a cover right here. This is an arc I received from NetGalley. It's also something that's meeting the Pop Sugar Challenge, and it comes out August 6th, so it is something I want to read kind of early on. It'll probably happen like right after it gets released, but it's an August release, so I do want to try to get to it. The prompt for the Exceeds Expectations is to read a standalone, and so for that I'm going to be reading Say You Still Love Me by K.A. Tucker. This one also comes out on August 6th, so I have a lot of August releases in here. We're just going to try to move things right along. So I've heard really, really good things about K.A. Tucker. I've never read any of their books, but I've heard that The Simple Wild, which is the one they wrote previously, was really good. And so this is an arc that I received, and it's a contemporary romance. And other than that, I don't really know what it is. I think it's like a second chance romance where she comes back into her hometown and sees like her old boyfriend, as second chance romances are. For Outstanding on Arithmetic, you need to read a book that has been on your TBR for ages. For that, I am going to be reading Madam President by Nicole Wallace. This is a political thriller about a female 45th president, and it's like a political intrigue scandal. I'm going to be reading this for Thriller-a-thon. You'll notice I have a few thrillers in here. This is where it's going to match up. So that's what this is. The reason it's been on my TBR for ages, well, not the reason. I got this on Book Outlet literally when I first started my channel. I think it was like my first Book Outlet order, and it was like one of those ones that was on clearance. And you know how your first Book Outlet order is always whatever's on sale, even though you've never heard of it. It sounds good, so you put it in your cart. And yeah, I haven't picked it up yet, so let's do that before I start doing my book haul revisits where I haven't read any books from that haul. Well, I try to block that out. Let's be honest. Moving on to the care of magical creatures. First, for Acceptable, which is one that will be a priority. So I will be reading it towards the beginning of the month. And the prompt for that is Follow the Spiders. Spiders? Why couldn't it be Follow the Butterflies? And so they want you to read a book that starts with the letter A for Aragog. And I'm going to be reading Aurora Rising by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is actually the group book for my book club for the month of August for Literary Alliance. And even though technically I should be reading it at the end of the month for the catch-up-a-thon, I'm going to read it at the beginning of the month because otherwise it just doesn't work. I'll still follow along with everybody at the end of the month when I'm doing the catch-up-a-thon. I will have already read it. So this is the author duo that wrote the Illuminae Files, which I've read earlier this year and absolutely loved. And I've heard that this is very different, but still really good. So I'm excited about it. And it's a beautiful cover. And it's signed by Jay Kristoff. Okay, for Exceeds Expectations, you need to read a book that is under 300 pages. And for that, I am going to be reading Filthy Gods by R. Scarlett. This is a dark contemporary romance. And I watched Madison Mary from Princess of Paperbacks vlog a few weeks ago. I think it was maybe during Smatathon, where she talked about this book and absolutely loved it. So I immediately put it on my TBR. It is a novella, so it's only 168 pages. So I really love romance novellas. They get to the point quick, and there's not a lot of, fluff in it. It's just, get in, get out, get on with your day. Did I just say that? Cool. Okay. Moving forward. I'm excited about this. This is a prequel to the American Gods series, and which I have no idea what that's about, but it's basically secret society, that kind of stuff. So anyways, it's a short novella. I'm excited about it. It should take me a day to read, and yeah, moving on. Okay, for Outstanding for Care of Magical Creatures, the prompt is grab onto Foxtail, read a book with a bird on the cover. My original plan was to read Catching Fire by Suzanne Collins. I read Hunger Games way back at the beginning of the year and then kind of didn't move on with the trilogy, which I may still do because I have an audiobook for this, and I also have, it's big words, quick read. So I might do that. However, I got approved for The Arc of the Merciful Crow by Margaret Owen, and I have heard nothing but amazing things about this book. And that actually comes out July 30th, so maybe I can just find an audiobook of that. And if I can, then I may end up swapping that out. All right, the next subject is charms. So the acceptable will be a priority for me, although I think all of them are going to be a priority because I have very high expectations for all of these books. So I'm probably just going to end up reading them very quickly anyways, but that's okay. So the first one is to read a book that you think has a gorgeous cover, and for that I will be reading Skyward Volume 1. Now, I don't think this has anything to do with the Skyward by Brandon Sanderson. Like, pretty sure it doesn't. This is a graphic novel series that has, that it's about this society where 20 years ago, gravity just got turned off, and so it's much lighter. You can float, you can fly, and then there's this girl who gets mixed up in a plot to turn the gravity back on. I saw it on Hoopla. The Volume 1 and Volume 2 are on Hoopla, and it looked really, really, like, the drawings, the art style looked really, really cool. The cover looks beautiful. And yeah, so I'll be reading Volume 1 for that prompt, which, like I said, will be a priority because it's one of the ones I have to read. And then the Exceeds Expectations prompt for charms is to read a graphic novel. So for that, I will be reading Skyward Volume 2, which obviously I have no idea what that's about, but it's the next volume in the series. I think that there's 3 volumes on Goodreads, but I don't know if the 3rd volume has come out yet. So I'm going to be reading the first 2. All right, and then for outstanding, it is the Spongified Charm, and so that is to read a paperback book, and for that I will be reading The Arc of Let's Call It a Doomsday by Katie Henry. I believe this comes out sometime in August. I'm not exactly sure when, but this is the same author that wrote Heretics Anonymous, and so I received this arc from the publisher, or actually from the author herself, and I'm excited about it. This is about, it's like a contemporary dystopian. There's a lot of mental health rep in here. It's about this girl who goes to therapy and then meets this other person at therapy who is basically sure that the world is going to end. And hijinks ensue, I guess. I'm excited about it. I have not read Heretics Anonymous. It's one of the books that's definitely on my TBR, on my radar. I've heard mixed things about it, but I've heard more good than bad. And so if I really like this, then I'm definitely going to pick up Heretics Anonymous. All right, moving on to the next subject, which is Defense Against the Dark Arts. And so for that, I at least have to do acceptable and exceeds expectations. So obviously, though, I'm going for all of them. So the acceptable prompt is to read a book that is black under the dust jacket. For that, I will be reading Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I kept seeing recursion I did not see anything about it. So I skipped that book in June and didn't get it, and then everyone started talking about this one and his new one. But it is black under the cover, black and gray. So it works for this. This is another dystopian science fiction that deals with, I want to say, memories. Yeah, so in this world he's woken up to, Jason's life is not the one he knows. His wife is not his wife. His son was never born. And Jason is not an ordinary college physics professor, but a celebrated genius who has achieved something remarkable, something impossible. So it's like dreams and alternate realities, and I'm here for it. The Exceeds Expectation prompt for the Defense Against the Dark Arts is Gilderoy's Memory Charm, which was a first book that you remembered now from your TBR. And so I kind of like watched her video and then picked a book. And so for that, I will be reading The Prince and the Dressmaker by Jen Wong. This is a graphic novel about a prince who likes to wear dresses. So art style is really cute. I've heard nothing but good things about this. It came out last year, I believe, and everyone really, really adored it. So I'm excited about it. And then the outstanding prompt for that, for the Defense Against the Dark Arts, is Cornish Pixies, and that is to swat it away with a book written by an English author or set in England. Now, it wouldn't be a Harry Potter readathon without a Harry Potter book, and so I will be reading Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, which is the 5th book. It's a big chunker. I'm slowly working my way through it. I will get to them by the end of the year. Most people don't like the Order of the Phoenix, so I'm tentatively excited about it. I just want to get to the good ones. Let's be honest. So the next subject is divination, and the acceptable prompt is to read a white book. For that, I will be reading Sadie by Courtney Summers. This is a contemporary thriller about a girl who's trying to find her sister, I believe. And there's a podcast element to it, and I'm definitely going to be trying to listen to the audiobook of this if possible. If not, maybe, I can still physically read it. So this will be another book that I read during Thriller-a-thon. All right, the next prompt for exceeds expectations for divination is to read a short story or a collection of short stories, and for that I will be reading Memento by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. This is the little novella. It's like 85 pages. That is the prequel to the Illuminae Files that follows Aiden's character, who is the artificial intelligence, and this came with your pre-order of Aurora Rising. So I know a lot of people are reading this for Reading Rush because it's purple on the cover, but I wanted to stick it in with my N.E.W.T.S, so I'm having to like hold off on it, and like every part of me wants to read this book, and I've almost picked it up like 4 times, but I didn't have another book for that prompt. So all right, and then for outstanding, it is to read your most recently acquired book, and I actually have a book outlet order coming to me this week. It should be here sometime during the Reading Rush, and in that is a Doctor Who graphic novel, which I didn't know that was a thing that existed. But first off, look how beautiful this cover is, and it's the 11th Doctor, who, like, I don't know, like, David Tennant, which is the 10th Doctor, was my favorite, or was my first Doctor, so I definitely have like a strong attachment to him. But then also I love Matt Smith, so I don't know who my favorite Doctor is. It's one of those two, but I'm excited to read it nonetheless. And yeah, I did not know that there were even Doctor Who graphic novels. Clearly I'm a terrible Whovian, but I'm excited to pick this one up. Okay, the next subject is herbology, and for acceptable, it is Mandrake. Quick, put on your headphones and listen to an audiobook. And I'm going to be listening to a ton of audiobooks, let's be real. I always listen to audiobooks. However, because you can't double up on prompts for the Magical Readathon, the book that I've specifically chosen for this is A Million Junes by Emily Henry. This is a book that I picked up purely because of Books and Lala. This was on one of her like favorite books of all time videos, and I don't know really what it's about because I've literally had it for a year. I know that it is a contemporary with like a magical element to it, and I've heard that the audiobook is really good. This was one of the books that was on my 19 books that I wanted to read in 2019, and so I'm trying to chip off a lot of those this month, so that's why this is on there. All right, for exceeds expectations, the prompt is to read a book that is between 350 and 390 pages, and so for that I will be reading I'm a Gay Wizard by V.S. Santoni, and this is, let me check on Goodreads, 352 pages, so going for the minimum expectation here. I mean, you know me. Minimal effort, maximum output, something like that. I don't know. I have no idea. I just made that up. So this is about queer wizards. So very cool. And they basically find out that they're wizards and they have to go to this institute. And I haven't heard a whole lot of buzz about it. It concerns me a little bit because it's a Wattpad novel. And the only other Wattpad novel that like ever got any buzz was After, and that's a horrible book. So yeah, I am hesitantly cautiously optimistic. I will probably be reading this during the catch-up-a-thon. I think Kylie and Crystal both got ARCs for this as well, and so there might be a chance that we're buddy reading it. I'm not entirely sure. We haven't completely figured that out. All right, and then for outstanding, the prompt is to pick a book with a flower on the cover. For that, I will be reading My Crazy Sick Love. There are lots of flowers on the cover. This is a adult contemporary romance about a girl or a woman in her I think she's like almost 30, which like my 30th birthday is August 18th. So it's very prevalent, relevant. It's about a woman who is like a hypochondriac and then like trying to deal with that and be in a relationship. So I'm excited. I mean, like, hopefully there's some good mental health rep in here while still being humorous and fun and a good time. So plus it's pretty short, so there's that. Moving on to the next subject, which is the history of magic. The acceptable prompt is to read a fantasy, and for that I will be reading God's Grave by J. Kristoff. I am currently reading Nevernight right now and absolutely loving it. I'm excited to move on with the series, so like I said, this will probably be one, even though it's not technically like a priority, it'll probably be one that I read towards the beginning just because I'm reading Nevernight now and I don't really want to like lose that before I go into God's Grave. So this is the second in the series. I can't really tell you about this book because it's obviously like spoilers. It's a sequel. So the Nevernight Chronicles are basically Mia's becoming an assassin and doing assassiny stuff. And basically trying to get revenge for her father's death. So then moving on to the next prompt, which is for Exceeds Expectations, is to read a book that includes a map, and I am guessing on this one because I only have the e-arc of it, and it does not have a map in it. However, Nevernight and God's Grave both do have maps, so I'm assuming the Dark Dawn will have a map. So like I said, I have an e-arc of this, and so I'm going to read those back to back, God's Grave and Dark Dawn. I am loving this series. I'm excited to complete the series, and I'm glad I didn't get on that because apparently God's Grave's ending is like super cliffhangery, so I'm kind of glad that I got on this hype train a little late, so then now I can just binge read them. And then the outstanding book, the outstanding prompt is to reread a favorite book, and for that I just need another excuse to read this book again. I'm going to read Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I'm actually going to listen to this on audio, I think, because the audio is on Scribd now, and I'd like to read it in a different format. So either that or I will annotate it. We'll do one of the two, depending on how the week is going or the month is going. All right, moving on to potions, which is the subject that I would like to teach as a professor, so I need to read all of these as a priority. And the first one is Polyjuice Potion, and that is to read a friend's favorite book, and I'm cheating slightly on this because I needed to fit this in somewhere. And I know that there are a lot of people on BookTube that love this book. So I'm going to be reading The Diviners by Libba Bray. I'm actually going to be participating in the read-along that Melanie and Chelsea and several other people are doing. This one is going to be on Chelsea's channel, but I think it's Melanie that's like actually starting everything. So this is a 1920s paranormal romance, and I have the audiobook for it, and I tried listening to it last year, but I was listening to it on like a plane ride home and I fell asleep, and then I just never really picked it back up. So yeah, I figured now was a perfect time to do that. The Exceeds Expectations prompt is the house ingredient, and that is to read a book with your Hogwarts house color on the title or on the cover. I am obviously Hufflepuff, so I'm going to be reading a book with yellow on the cover, and for that I will be reading the graphic novel Mooncakes. I have heard nothing but good things about this book. It looks so adorable. It's about these witches, and they do witchy things, and I'm excited about it. So, as you can see, there's a lot of graphic novels on this TBR because it's the only way I'm going to ever get through this many books. And then the outstanding prompt for potions is to read a book with a prologue in it, and for that I'm going to be reading The Girl in 6E by A.R. Torr. This is an erotic thriller about a girl who is a call girl and basically can't leave her house, otherwise she might murder somebody. So she's not a call girl, she does like webcam, I think, or like phone stuff, I don't know, but she will kill people if she goes out in public, so she does not ever leave her apartment. So this will be another book that I read for Thrillerathon. I don't know necessarily that any of those fit the Thrillerathon prompts, let's be honest, but as long as I'm reading thrillers, it's fine. I can still participate. So that's 3 books for Thrillerathon. That should be good. All right, and then the final subject is Transfiguration. And so for the acceptable, that is to read a book with LGBTQIA plus representation. For that, I will be reading Fence Volume 1. This is a graphic novel about a fencing team, and there is definitely some LGBT rep in there, and I've heard really good things about it. I have no doubt that I will thoroughly enjoy it, then the exceeds expectations is to read a book that is not the first in its series. And so then I will continue on with the series and read Fence Volume 2 for the next prompt. So I'm cheating. Am I cheating? I'm not cheating. That's not cheating, right? Cool. And then the outstanding and the final prompt is McGonagall does not mess around. Read a book over 500 pages. For that, I will be reading Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman. I will be reading this during the catch-up-a-thon. I will put out that one. I will do a separate TBR for, just because I'm hosting that readathon, so I will do a TBR. But this is a little sneak preview for that. I will be reading Thunderhead, and this book is 504 pages. So again, minimal effort, minimum expectations here. No need to go for some huge books. I think the only other book, well, Harry Potter's over 500 pages, and then the only other book that's over 500 pages, I think, is The Diviners. So I'm reading a lot of short books, but that's still a lot of books. 27 books in 1 month is crazy. If I finish this and I do complete the 27 books, I should hit, based on what I'm reading in July, that I should hit 100 books by the end of August, which is fantastic, which is actually like my goal for the whole year. If you are new here and you have not yet subscribed, there's a little red button that you can do so down below the video, and all of the links to my social medias will be in the description down below if you would like to be my friend on any other platform. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.